様の右手何かあるな。こいつも空間を削ってやがるのか。Open the gate!
Hello everyone, Xforts here, and welcome back to another JoJo's Bizarre Adventure discussion video. Today we have an episode of standoff between the highly requested characters Okuyasu and Vanilla Ice, and their stands The Hand and Cream. We are going to be analyzing both of these stands, looking at their powers, abilities, and also weaknesses, and then comparing the two and seeing which stand is superior. Both of these stands, The Hand and Cream, are extremely powerful and almost borderline overpowered if used effectively, considering both of these stands have the ability to completely erase things out of existence. To start off, the first stand that we're going to be analyzing is Okuyasu's The Hand. The Hand's appearance is a humanoid-type stand with attire similar to sports padding. Okuyasu and the Hand have matching symbols on their clothes, a symbol for yen, the Japanese currency, and also a symbol for the American dollar. The Hand's face was designed with blinders on both sides of his head, limiting his vision. This reflects Okuyasu's own impulsive and narrow personality. The Hand's main ability of erasing space lies within its right hand, which shows spider web-like lines on the inside along with two bulges coming out of it. I also really like the design of this stand, and I think it matches Okuyasu very well. Moving on to this stand's main ability of erasing space. Anything the Hand touches with its right hand is erased from the current universe. Okuyasu even says himself that he does not know where the erased space or objects go. Okuyasu can choose between the removal of space or physical objects when using his stand's ability. When he chooses to remove space, he has another decision to make. He can either teleport himself in whatever direction he swipes, or he can stay put and bring objects closer to him while staying stationary in whatever direction he swipes. But when he's removing physical objects, if only a part of the object is erased, there will be no noticeable damage as the object will be filled by adjacent space and objects. Objects will feel an unexplained push, moving themselves towards the center of the erased space while the void is being filled by the surrounding space in the dimension. The Hand in practice is actually a very simple stand, but when explaining the stand and the effects of it, that's when it becomes a little complicated. With all of the potential that this stand is and how powerful it could be, it's kind of brought down by its use. Okuyasu mainly uses his stand only for combat when it could be used in tons of different situations. He really only uses its powers to destroy things or get close to an opponent, or to bring an opponent into his range. The Hand is a very powerful stand and is possibly as strong as Crazy Diamond, although it is substantially slower. One of the strongest uses of the Hand is its ability to bring enemies into your range, effectively making your range almost infinite, considering you need a close range to damage your enemies, but you can just erase the space in between. To finish up the Hand's analysis, we have the stand stats: a B in destructive power, B in speed, D in range, C in durability, C in precision, and C in development potential. Moving on to the next analysis, the stand we're going to be looking at is Cream, the stand user of course being Vanilla Ice. Starting off with appearance, Cream is more of a monster type stand rather than a humanoid stand. Other features include hearts on its head and shoulders and also two protruding horns. But when Cream uses his ability, he actually has another appearance as well in a different form. Cream takes the form of a moving circle of emptiness that just appears to be black, that cuts its way through any object and any person it passes through. The second form is a void made by Cream eating itself in Vanilla Ice. Taking a look at Cream's main ability, Void, Cream is able to eat himself and the user Vanilla Ice and become that empty ball of nothingness we were talking about that's referred to as the Void, and devours everything it comes in contact with. When using this form, Cream is invulnerable and invincible and cannot be defeated except by dodging out of its way. But of course, such an OP ability has to have a drawback, and that's being that neither Vanilla Ice or Cream can see while this ability is being used. So occasionally, Vanilla Ice will have to disengage partially to see whether or not the attack was successful, and this leaves him vulnerable to attacks. One approach Vanilla Ice usually uses while using his ability, Void, is fighting an opponent in a room and then moving in a spiral motion around the room, destroying everything. Cream's secondary ability is his dimensional access. So when Cream is not devouring itself and the user, it's able to access an alternate dimension. And they're probably able to view the surroundings in the physical world of that dimension. But when Cream and Vanilla Ice are in that other dimension, they do not exist in the physical world or the alternate dimension, which would be where the story takes place. So that means that they're completely undetectable by anyone while in there. Cream is one of the most powerful stands in the whole series with such an amazing ability. The only downside being that its user Vanilla Ice is a vampire and dies by sunlight. Cream's stand stats are B in destructive power, B in speed, D in range, C in durability, C in precision, and D in development potential. So although both the hand and Cream stands revolve around erasing space, you can see that they function very differently. So now that we've analyzed both stands and taken a look at their powers and abilities, we can compare both of these space erasing monsters and see which one is superior. When comparing both of these stands, it's pretty obvious that Cream is a much more powerful and much more deadly stand, and also the user has the advantage considering his only weakness is sunlight, but he never has to be in the sun because he can just hide inside his stand. And any damage he takes inside there really does nothing because he's an immortal vampire. But even though Cream is such an overpowered stand, it actually has more flaws than the hand does. Considering Cream's weaknesses are being unable to see and have no sense of direction when it's actually using its main ability. But when comparing that to the hand's weaknesses, really the hand is just a pretty slow stand, and sometimes it can backfire on itself, but that's mainly because of Okuyasu and how he uses it, and he's kind of an idiot because as we saw in Josuke's fight, Josuke kind of tricked him into erasing the space in between a flower pot, so it kind of smacked Okuyasu in the face, but with a different user, I'm sure they could use this stand more effectively and avoid having their own stand damaging them. But even with Cream's big weaknesses, the hand still just falls short. The biggest thing that puts Cream ahead of the hand is that Cream has interdimensional access. That is such a crazy ability when you actually think about it. Vanilla Ice can make himself and his stand completely invincible and just erase themselves from the existing world while still technically existing. It's an incredible stand for offense, it's an incredible stand for stealth, and it has so much destructive power with being able to just erase anything while moving at high speeds in just a giant void ball. Yes, both of these stands do have the ability to erase space, but Cream is just on a completely different level compared to the hand. It might sound like that I'm calling the hand a weak stand, but that is not the case at all. The hand was one of the most powerful stands from all of Part 4, and I really think that Okuyasu got the Fugo treatment. Fugo was a character from Part 5 who had to be completely written out of the story about halfway through because his stand Purple Haze was so powerful. And we really didn't get to see Okuyasu have a lot of fights in Part 4, and I really think that's because it would have been no problem for his stand to defeat most enemies. Like we saw him completely wreck Red Hot Chili Pepper and also nullify Killer Queen's air bombs. If the hand had more speed and a more intelligent user, I could easily see this stand being possessed by a main villain in the series. I could just totally imagine a panel with any protagonist in the series having an inner monologue of, "His stand has the power to erase space." And now when I say that Cream is on a completely different level, I hope that puts it into perspective on how powerful I think Cream is as a stand. I will say though that the hand's power of erasing space is more practical than the way that Cream does it, considering that you're fully aware of what you're erasing and you can actually plan out and meticulously think of how you're going to erase things to affect the world around you. But even though the hand has the potential to do that, Okuyasu doesn't do that very well. But just because the hand is better than Cream in that regard, that does not make it a better stand at all, because the hand still does not have access to a completely different dimension and cannot completely erase itself from existence. So to conclude, the superior stand and the winner of this standoff is Cream. We are also going to be doing a deathmatch for today's episode because so many of you guys have been requesting this video. For deathmatches and standoff is really just my personal opinion on what I think would happen if the two characters we're comparing would get into an encounter. So for today's case, we're going to be taking a look at Okuyasu in the hand versus Vanilla Ice and Cream. So if these two had an encounter, it would probably be inside a room of some sort because Vanilla Ice does not go outside very often because he is in fact a vampire. So the stage is set. We have Vanilla Ice and Okuyasu inside a building or room. Okuyasu would probably just say something like, "Who the hell are you?" and Vanilla Ice would just go on about his loyalty to Dio-sama. So Vanilla Ice would probably start off immediately going into his void form. Okuyasu may or may not realize that they have similar abilities by being able to erase things. So Cream would just be in his void, flailing around the room, trying to hit Okuyasu. Okuyasu would probably just avoid the void Void by using his stand to just teleport around out of its way. Or Cream would just eat itself and its user and just go totally undetected and then just appear behind Okuyasu and just eat him. But the way that we saw Silver Chariot damage Vanilla Ice is that when he peeked his head out, he stabbed him with his sword, and Okuyasu doesn't have that sort of speed or accuracy, so Okuyasu would really have no way to damage Cream at all. Cream could just occasionally peek his head out, see where Okuyasu is, target him, and then hope he hits him with Void, and just repeat this over and over and over again. Okuyasu is mainly seen fighting with his fist, and if Okuyasu tried to punch Vanilla Ice, considering he's inside Cream's hand, he would probably just eat his hand off. And if it's his right hand, the battle would probably end right there. So Okuyasu really doesn't have any way to attack Cream or Vanilla Ice, but I think it would be interesting to see what would happen if Okuyasu erased the space that Void was in. I assume nothing would happen, considering Void really does not exist in the world and is described as just nothingness, so what would happen if you erased nothing? Because technically Cream or Vanilla Ice are not in that world at all, they're in their separate dimension, so essentially he really wouldn't be erasing them at all, and they would just be able to pop back up and do whatever damage they wanted to. So for this deathmatch, Okuyasu would just be very overwhelmed and very outmatched. So give these two enough time together and eventually Cream will come out the winner. Even if Okuyasu found a way to get Vanilla Ice outside, or just completely erase the building that they're in total, it still really wouldn't matter because Vanilla Ice can just hide inside Cream and can still peek out without exposing himself to sunlight. So that's what I think would happen in a deathmatch between these two. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And that's going to be it for this episode of Standoff. Like always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a like if I occupied your boredom for a little bit. And also, don't forget, you guys are able to request any sort of what-if scenarios, standoff battles that you guys would like to see on this channel, or any sort of theory videos pertaining to the JoJo's Bizarre